Former Sergeant Betsy Segui took the plea deal while the other 3 charged rejected the plea deal and are headed to trial. If convicted, all 3 could face up to a year and a half in jail.
Plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Former Sergeant Betsy Segui pleaded guilty to second-degree reckless endangerment. She also received a 60-day suspended sentence and a 6-month conditional discharge. The 5th officer charged, Ronald Presley, accepted the same plea deal. However, Officer Oscar Diaz and former officers Jocelyn Lavendier and Luis Rivera rejected the same plea deal from the state. Ray Hassett, the attorney representing Rivera, says not all of the officers played the same role in the incident.
Everybody feels really bad for Mr. Cox and what happened to him. It's a tragedy. But these officers, as will be established in court, had nothing to do with his injuries. They didn't exacerbate them, they didn't cause them, they didn't create them.
4 of the officers were fired by the city, but Diaz was reinstated earlier this year after the state labor board overturned his firing. Segui's bid to return to the department was rejected, while arbitration cases for Lavendier and Rivera are still open. Attorney Daniel Ford represents Lavendier and says he's looking forward to their day in court.
I don't think she did anything wrong here, and I think a jury's going to agree with all of us.
In June of 2022, Randy Cox was arrested by the New Haven Police Department and was charged with weapon offenses. He was put in the back of a police transport van driven by Officer Diaz. On the way to the police department, the van stopped short. Cox, who was in the back of the van with no seatbelt, flew headfirst into a wall inside the van. New Haven State's Attorney John P. Doyle Jr. says Cox tried to tell the officers he was hurt.
He was met with comments by officers that he was not injured, that they were going to remove him from the vehicle.
Body cam footage shows Cox being taken out of the vehicle, being placed on the ground, and then being placed in a wheelchair. He was later dragged into a holding cell. As a result of this incident, Cox is now paralyzed from the mid-chest down. The offenses Cox was charged with were eventually dropped by the state.
The state's position is the conduct and the behavior by the officers at the scene in that detention center occurred was reckless to Mr. Cox, indifference to his person, indifference to his claims, referring to him as being either intoxicated or non-responsive or refusing to comply.
The state's attorney says Cox is prepared to testify if necessary at trial. The judge will hear arguments next month as to whether the 3 should be charged together or separately. The first trial is expected to begin on February 9th. In New Haven, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.